Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Akmal Afifi bin Muhammad Shukri. Number matrix AA181744. I'm from Rose Apple Rapper and Cutter 2.0. For the abstract of this project presents the Rose Apple Rapper and Cutter 2.0. Malaysia currently imports a variety of fruits into the national market. This is because local fruits do not have quality compared to imported fruits. Therefore, we are interested in making a project related to local fruits, namely water guava or rose apple. One of the problems of rose apple is very easy to be spoiled without being properly wrapped. To this project success is to fabricate fruits polls. It should be compared with appropriate internet source, magazine, journals, and data. The whole project involves various methods and processes that are often used in the field of engineering, such as a concept design, detail design, analysis design, and fabrication process. The result we can see from this project is that we can reduce the time during the process of wrapping and cutting the rose apple. Apart from the time factor, the safety factor is also improved compared to the traditional methods. For the conclusion, our project has been successful in accordance with the objectives presented. Next, for the introduction, Malaysia have two types of season, namely hot and rainy. Malaysian takes this precious opportunity by making a profit selling local fruit such as durian, rambutan, mango, rose apple, and so on. Fruit such as rose apple need careful care to get good result. It should be wrapped in plastic or paper with small holes. This wrap can prevent pests and maintains the freshness of the fruit. This rose apple tree has height that is difficult to reach, so the gardeners have to use stairs and poles to wrap and cut the fruits. Causes the process to be slow, and the use of stairs can be endangered the gardener because if the surface is not flat, it can cause the gardener to fall. The result of the idea of hooks and fruit wrapper. This tool combines two processes at a time where cutting and packaging can be done at once. This project is an innovation from previous projects and tools available in the market. In local stores, there are no cutter and wrapper product combined into one product, but only two different products will sell through the market in Malaysia. Based on the original rose apple wrapper and cutter, it didn't manage to tie the wrapper tightly that after a few days the wrapper would fall off due to the changing weather. The fruits will be affected by fruit flies and will be spoiled before it rips. Common fruits wrapper or cutter that sold in the market have a permanent length. This will prevent user from wrapping or cutting the fruits beyond the length of the product. Another fruit cutter is not well made that it can cause damage to the tree. We have made a new design and new features to the original rose apple wrapper and cutter that can ease and helps the user. For the objective, to study the current design of fruit wrapper and cutter in the market. Next, design the improvement of fruit wrapper and cutter 2.0. Simulate the design of rose apple wrapper and cutter 2.0. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Arif Firdaus bin Orisan. I will talk about materials and methods. For our project, we use stainless steel for outer shaft because to prevent from rusting. Second, we use a cast alloy steel for inner shaft and connector because it has a toughness. For container, we use a PVC plastic because it is lightweight. Nylon for net to make sure it's net lightweight and long lasting. Galvanic steel for knife, bolt and nut because it has good toughness and ductility. For hanger, we use cast stainless steel to prevent from rusting. For method, the visual part design of its rose apple wrapper and cutter 2.0 done by using SolidWorks 2019 software as shown in figure 3.1. The visual design is categorized into two parts, a knife for cutting fruit branch and hanger for wrapping fruit. The knife is drawn using a circle and new features that are extruded to a certain thickness. Then the next part drawn in the shape of a knife and extrude to a specified thickness, then use a chamfer. The second part begins by drawing a circle in the middle, extrude, drawn another small circle and use a liner sketch. 4 small circles are drawn and connect the circle with the extruded circle. Extruded that part to make a hanger. Draw small circle on all 4, then extrude. The main section begins by making the outer shaft and inner shaft. First, draw a circle and extrude it to a specified height and then make a hole. Follow the connector and to connect the outer shaft with the container. Construct a cylinder with diameter specified. Make 4 small holes for bolt and nut for container. With bolt and nuts. This design requires spring to make adjustable stick. Then the net is designed using a swab, then a mirror. The handle is designed to easily lift and rotate the shaft with 1 cylinder letter for the hole at the corner of the cylinder, then fillet.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Azrin Shafizi bin Azhar, and now I would like to talk about the result and discussion. The Rose Apple Wrapper and Cutter 2.0 has a lot of improvements compared to the original, such as the hanger is changed in design and material to make the rope fastener tighter. Next is there are also changes in material and design on the Rose Apple Wrapper and Cutter 2.0 that improve the overall design and function compared to the original. Several analyses have been made on the inner shafts and springs such as stress, strain, and displacement. And there is also a table for an estimated time taken for wrapping and cutting the rose apple. For the table, there are 3 methods that we use for the estimated time taken for wrap and cutting the rose apple. And the first method is traditional method, which is by using a ladder, and then we use our hand, and it takes 15 seconds for wrapping the 3 or 4 pieces of the rose apple, and 17 seconds for the cutting rose apple. For the second method, which is the original version of the rose apple wrapper and cutter, it takes 7 seconds for wrapping the 3 or 4 pieces of the rose apple and 13 seconds for cutting the rose apple. And the last method, which is our product, the Rose Apple Wrapper and Cutter version 2.0, and it takes 6 seconds for wrapping the 3 or 4 pieces of rose apple and 7 seconds for the cutting rose apple. For the discussion on the inner shafts analysis, there are 3 results that shows the strength and weakness of the inner shaft. As a 13 Newton force applied on the shaft on the first diagram, it shows that the shaft is holding stress maximum of 4.22 times 10 power of positive 7 to minimum of 4.168. As stated on the objectives, it confirms that the inner shaft can hold a maximum load of 3 kg. Diagram 3.3, it shows that the maximum of displacement is 5.658 and the minimum is 0. There are 3 colors shown in the diagram 3.1, which is the blue area is just at the upper of the holder till the middle of the shaft, while the green area is at the middle of the shaft till just below the spring area, and the red area is at the rest of the upper shaft till just below the hanger. This means while holding a load of 3 kg, the shaft will bend, and to prevent it from breaking, we use an outer shaft which can hold the inner shaft and possibly reduce the displacement. In diagram 3.2, it shows that while holding the load, the strain on the shaft is not very big compared to the displacement and stress, which is a maximum of 6.462 times 10 power of minus 4 and minimum of 8.590 times 10 a power of negative 11. Based on the table that I've shown before, the first method, which is the traditional method, takes the longest time because it needs a ladder to climb the tree and need to wrap the fruit using the manual way, which is using a hand. While the original version of our product, which is the rose apple wrapper and cutter version 1.0, and our product, which is the rose apple wrapper cutter version 2.0, have a long shaft that allows the user to use it on the ground and wrapping the fruit. Also, it's just by twisting the shaft or pulling the string to wrap or cutting the fruit. Just by changing the hanger to knife on the next gen version of the product and twisting the shaft to cut the fruit saves a few seconds compared to the original version of the rose apple wrapper and cutter. So the conclusion is the rose apple wrapper and cutter version 2.0 is an innovation that saves time and energy for local user. This product achieves all the objectives that have been set, and it can save time around 6 seconds to wrap rose apple and save 15 second time to wrap rose apple. The quantity for wrapping rose apple also increases, and it is effective when using rose apple wrapper and cutter version 2.0. The quantity increased within 7 packs of rose apple fruit due to the nets used on the poles. The rose apple wrapper and cutter version 2.0 takes 1 second less than the previous version, which is 40% safe. And for the cutting the fruit, it takes for about 6 seconds less than the previous version, which is about 40% saved. While being quicker, it also reduces the risk of accidents and can increase the productivity and quality of the fruit. One of the suggestions for improvement for the next version, we are choose to be a better material for the hanger and the shaft so that the overall mass is lighter and steadier. We should also create a new design, such as making an adjustable shaft so it can wrap or cut a higher position fruit. Adding an electronic circuit on the hanger and a button on the holder so that when wrapping or cutting action will be automated and will be less effort for the user. And thank you, that is all from me.